Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
On a Friday evening in Massapequa, the Nassau County Boys Lacrosse Power League has given us another tremendous matchup. Both schools from Class A, with Port Washington rolling in winners of 6 straight and 9-1 overall, taking on the Chiefs of Massapequa, checking in at 6-3 and trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. With Nick Paniagua and Mike Nelson, David Resnick, here on the South Shore of Long Island to continue this 2025 boys lacrosse regular season. And it's been a common theme throughout the year because of the new configuration over the last couple of years, Mike, where we just seem to get great matchups day in and day out.
I think it's much better for Nassau County Lacrosse, Long Island Lacrosse, the way they have things situated now. It used to be, you never knew what kind of matchup you were going to get, but two teams like Port Washington and Massapequa directly in the middle of the season, this is what they were hoping for when they made the schedules.
And, I think the craziest part about this specific matchup, too, is it's a very real possibility that these two teams will actually be able to see each other down the line come playoff time.
Massapequa preseason number 1 in A, Port Washington 4th after just a 2-win season in which they lost in the quarterfinals. As we take a look at the Vikings' impact players.
Both Brandon Lang in the midfield for Port Washington, a very big focal point of their offense. 18 goals on the year, 6 assists to boot. And, of course, the all-county man himself from last year, Harry Behan, has a goal himself this year as well. Very big threat once he gets the ball into his hands and is able to clear it to the other side.
Couple of seniors there for the Vikings really making an impact. And while they are headliners, they are players that really embrace the motto of doing what it takes to win by 1 goal. As we shift our focus to Massapequa and a couple of players to watch for the Chiefs.
Nolan Wieserak, again, one of these more higher offensive threats for Massapequa, making the move over to Midi. 17 goals and 20 assists to boot off of that. Very, very productive player in himself. And on the defensive side, of course, Will Krieg. Expect him to be guarding either Tommy McCarville or Harry Einen.
And Wieserak, similar to Lang, ability to play both on the attack and midfield. Viking starters. Headliner Tommy McCarville, a senior bound for SUNY Maritime, 6th in Nassau County in goals with 31. What else stands out to you, Mike, about the starters for the Vikings?
Well, I think they're going to lean on, their leading scorers, McCarville right now. McCarville leads in goals, 31 goals and 40 points, and I think that's they're going to be the number 1 threat.
Massapequa has changed up their starting lineup as Sean Durnan, typically a 4th attackman, will run with that top line tonight.
That's a scary unit for Massapequa. I was fortunate to see them earlier this year, actually earlier this week against Garden City. And, they share the ball really well. They look for each other. They play together. It's a pretty special group.
Locate the flag at the south end of the field.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net. Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the spring, but spots are limited. Contact us today for lacrosse, baseball, softball, and tennis by calling 517.
Moments away from the start of Massapequa and Port Washington. Chiefs hosting the Vikings. And how many times do you get to say that our goalie matchup features a pair of returning all-county players? Michael Giannotti is the netminder for Massapequa, saving at 65% as a senior. And on the other end, Max Einen, just a sophomore, but a couple of saves away from 300 in his career.
Lions, and of course, Coach Sonny Lappy. The girls in the booth today from Massapequa High School.
Saving at nearly 74%, already over 100 saves on the season.
I think Max has been a kind of a phenomenon since he arrived in 8th grade. Immediately took the starting job over some pretty talented upperclassmen, and it's been his home for 3 years now.
Keys to the game, a couple of points of emphasis for both Port Washington and Massapequa.
Starting with Port Washington, what they want to do is try to slow Massapequa down and force them to play the 6-on-6. That means that when Massapequa clears the ball, they have to get back on the defensive end, try to slow down their transition. You can't allow any fast breaks, and you can't lose the track of the players once you get on that defensive side. Can't allow any cutters, as Massapequa is known for getting on the inside against them. And to wrap it all up, they will need to pay attention to their respective players there to defend.
Start with a procedure against Massapequa. Support will start with the ball.
Massapequa facing off at right around 50% on the season. As Port Washington will take the opening possession. Marvin Griffin took the face-off for the Vikings as they are rolling. Winners of 6 straight, including a most recent victory on Tuesday, 17-3 over Oceanside. McCarville is one in the blue. This is a shot from the outside, and Will Amudi, the lefty, gets denied. Opening save there for Giannotti.
As a goaltender, that's exactly what you want to start a game off with. Build your confidence and give your team a little boost as well.
Massapequa clears over midfield. They get their touch in the box and can set up settled 6-on-6.
That's right here, right? We mentioned before, this is where Port Washington wants to be. Slow down the game. Right there, creating a lot of traffic in that middle to get that turnover.
That's the first of 2 saves.
So both goaltenders have had an opportunity now so far to get a handle on the ball, and I think that's going to benefit both of them. Port is out again in an open set. At the beginning of the game is always a feeling out process. Try to stretch out the Massapequa defense and look for the one-on-one matchups, and that time they were able to take advantage of the opportunity and get a shot on Gennady.
Jacob Apad almost scoring that one, took it right to the hole.
Pass to the high crease and dunked inside. Dylan Buckley getting an early run at midfield, and he deposits the first goal for the Vikings.
So here you see Port Washington setting a pick behind the cage, and a nice look in front. One thing about spreading out the offense is you make the slides longer on the defense. So Massapequa is going to have to be wary of not spreading themselves too thin on the defense.
How about Harry Inen getting hit as he found Buckley right over the middle. A lot of poise right there for the sophomore attack.
Face-off won by Massapequa to even that up. Ryan Chabas, the sophomore, earned the possession for the Chiefs. Perfect 4-0 here at home as part of their 6-3 season. Just a game over 500 in league play. Second settled offensive possession for the Chiefs, and Braden Tucker part of this midfield line with Matthew Pettis as well, bound for Albany. A shot is high and backed up by Durnan, the sophomore.
Massapequa attack, they share the ball really well, really kind of unselfish play between the three of them, and they feed off each other.
Pass is broken up. The strength of this Port Washington team is their defense, and the backup pole, Evan Ojina-Friedman, comes away with the steal and ground ball pickup.
Interesting, you see Port Washington sent the guy early, sent the double early to try to get Massapequa off their game and unsettled from the beginning.
Jake Feinstein, short stick defensive midfielder, doing a nice job of holding on to possession as the Vikings sub behind him. This is Liam Brandon Lang getting inside, right on the crease for a 2-0 start.
Brandon Lang, again, creating room for himself here as we'll check it out here on the replay. Again, just going one-on-one. How about this from the senior midfielder, trailing right from the box, takes it right in there. Gets another goal for this Port Washington team.
You see Harrison Heckman, the defenseman, did a good job of staying with the ball carrier. Maybe just a little bit too aggressive on that one and allowed the rollback.
3-on-3 battle for this possession. It was played with a loose stick, and so Port Washington gets possession.
One thing Coach Catalano wanted to stress coming into this game is that there's got to be more communications on the defensive side of the ball for this Massapequa team, especially with very high potent players like Tommy McCarville, Brandon Lang on Port Washington's side. You got to know where everybody is at all times. As you see right there, Port again trying to get a guy over the middle.
In their 6-game winning streak, 5 times they have scored double-digit goals, averaging nearly 12 per game as they lead 2-0 early. Owen Meyer getting a run in the midfield. 5 will rotate through. This is their stud attackman, McCarville. Trying to get top side. Nice job there by Justin Farrell to dispossess. And then the ground ball picked up by Ryan McLaughlin for Massapequa. Running unsettled for the Chiefs. Extra pass in front and dumped in. It's Rocco Spallina on the welcome mat to cut the deficit in half.
Again, we mentioned coming into this one, Port Washington has to stop their fast break, has to force Massapequa not to get into any transition because you see exactly right there just how dangerous they are. Rocco Spallina, goal number 30 on the year for the sophomore. Now Massapequa only trails by 1.
What really started that play, I think, was a good defensive play by Justin Farrell, returning All-County player as a freshman last year. He initiated that turnover and the clear by Massapequa. Face-offs are in Port Washington's favor so far.
Lang again comes out of the box. Likes that right alley dodge. That's how he scored Port Washington's second goal as they jumped out to an early lead. Just up by 1, 5 minutes in.
Lang is a big body. It's difficult to keep him outside.
Split dodge to the left and a bouncing shot. Whistles or bounces wide.
The goalkeeper, Michael Giannotti, playing a little bit higher on his arc and really forcing the shooter to shoot past him.
Finessed inside on the roll and put on home. Harry Einen inside 3-1.
Beautiful dodge right there by Harry Einen, spinning over. His backside shoulder, gets himself just enough room, gets it right past Giannotti. Look, maybe a little bit out of position there, but still, Einen manages to finish a Port back up by 2.
Sometimes, right, Mike, it's not about the velocity, but the placement.
And you take what the other team gives you, and especially what the goalie gives you in that time on a spin. Einen had probably 2 or 3 inches, and he put it right past him.
Massapequa earns this face-off. They don't allow the Vikings to make it and take it as we approach the midway point of the opening quarter. County finalists a year ago, Massapequa at home with Pettis running down the right alley. Double teamed in the swim move, keeping it alive. Oh, what a save. Point blank, there was Einen with the denial.
So there was the talent on this full display by Einen with that save. Point blank right on Spallina.
How about that for the sophomore? 300, his 300th save in his high school career.
And he's probably not even halfway through with his high school career.
Already with a couple here to keep it 3-1 in the Vikings' favor. They've bounced back quite nicely after an uncharacteristic 2-win season a year ago with 9 already as McCarville is denied. Giannotti up to task to match the save from Einen.
Nice save by Michael Giannotti to challenge the shooter.
Both already with a couple, and McCarville cocked the stick back, and what a job there defensively to knock it away. Dominic Antonelli with a nice play defensively. Typically a pole, but playing short stick defensive midfield there to win possession back for the Chiefs with 5 to go, trailing by 2 in the opening quarter.
So what Massapequa has to be really careful of here, try not to jump back in the game and tie it up, in one shot. They have to really, maintain the composure and be patient and work for their shots.
Matthew Pettis back on first midfield line, or a mixture with Tucker and Diaso as well. Tucker with the split dodge and retreats. Owen Meyer there defensively with the short stick. McCarville got caught on this end of the field. Meyer lost his stick, and then what a pickup there by the close defender.
Port Washington very, very aggressive on their slides. They're not waiting to see what Massapequa was going to do. They're going to try to force Massapequa to make mistakes right off the bat.
Oren Shishoa had a nice play defensively as Port Washington turns it over against the strong ride from Massapequa. So with things settled down, the officials call for time to pick up the broken stick. Michael Herold, Tom Reynolds, Shane Clark, our 3-man officiating crew. As Massapequa will continue the possession with under 4 to go. Started 5-0. They've lost 2 of 3, but the combined records of the teams that they've lost to, 22-6. So playing good competition, but just faltering the last couple of times out.
Again, the Port Washington defense is really being aggressive no matter how close or how far away from the cage they are. The uncharacteristic bad throw on a clear by Max.
So a couple of failed clears in a row by Port Washington, and Chiefs scoop it back up with a chance to cut into the 2-goal deficit. Tucker tries to duck inside. Spallina, change of direction. Across goal line extended. A blast from the outside is off the mark. Massapequa has lost 3 of 4 and 2 in a row, to correct an earlier statement. But the record of those 3 losses, the record of the opponents of those 3 losses, still stands at 22-6. Under 3 to go as this possession winds down. Tucker inverts, challenges the short stick. A change of direction and a feed in front, and Einen comes across the crease to make the stop.
So I think we're going to run out of superlative to use for the goaltender for Port, Max Einen. That just was another athletic, acrobatic kind of save right on the doorstep for him.
Glenn Levy, first year as Port Washington's head coach, heard quite a bit about his sophomore goalie and said earlier this week, better than advertised. Using the screen, McCarville has a little bit of room. Outside of Tommy McCarville, it's very much a offense by committee. Liam with the righty cradle, trying to attack the short stick of Pettis, but is walled off as a rising shot from a tough angle is off target.
I'm sure as Paul Washington, Coach Levy is really thrilled that the ball being shared and not just one guy is really taking the ball all the time. That's ideal for offense.
McCarville trying to get inside and stepped inside the crease. So Massapequa looks to clear, but too quick on the restart will send it back to Gennady.
Minute left. Shot clock is off for the remainder of the quarter.
Port Washington scored the first. Massapequa made it 2-1. Port Washington with 3 different goal scorers have the lead in the final minute of the first. Timeout taken, Massapequa. And Kevin Catalano, in his first season after 9 years with the Massapequa JV, calls it with 37 seconds to go. Chief Graphics specializes in custom graphics and signs, helping schools, businesses, and organizations bring their vision to life. Their one-stop shop provides in-house design, fabrication, and installation services. From press box graphics, wraps, mesh field signage, tents, and backdrops, dimensional signs and letters to senior recognition poster and donor recognition displays, Chief Graphics delivers custom solutions that make a statement.
I think that was a very opportune time for Massapequa to call that timeout, to settle them down. A little jittery on the offense, and even on the clear, it looks like they're gripping their sticks a little too tightly. Right.
And you brought it up earlier, but Port Washington is not backing down from this one. They are just out and in their faces on the defensive end, really applying a lot of pressure. And I'm a little surprised that we haven't really seen Massapequa try to send anyone over the middle to try and give a little payback for this very aggressive defense.
Sure. So it's hard to hit a moving target, right? So Massapequa has to be careful not to just stand still and take it from Port. They have to move around and make it harder for them.
Massapequa's 60-second shot clock started after there was a minute on the clock, so they could take this all the way down with 34 seconds to go and play for the final possession of the opening quarter. Tyler Burns flips it near side, out of the reach of Tucker, and Port Washington will have a chance at the final possession with 23 seconds to go.
So I'm sure during the timeout, Coach Catalano stressed, stay away from mistakes and turnovers, and that's just not what they were looking for on that play.
That's not how it was drawn up.
I don't think so. I wouldn't. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet that.
7 seconds to go. Port has to hurry. A cutter through the middle, and it was out of the reach of Buckley. What a job, though, there by APAT to keep it alive as he was going down to the turf. Port Washington has led throughout. It's a 2-goal lead for the Vikings on the road here in Massapequa on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships. For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
And we're back in Massapequa, start of the second quarter, and the Chiefs earn the opening face-off and possession of this second, trailing 3-1 here at home on the Varsity Media Sports Network with Nick Paniagua, Mike Nelson, David Resnick here for this Nassau Power League matchup featuring a couple of teams in Class A who have won county titles in the last decade. Port Washington with their first offensive possession here of the second. 3 different goal scorers in the first. Buckley, Lang, and Einen scored the first 2 of the game before taking a 3-1 lead after Massapequa's only goal from Rocco Spallina. Liam McCarville puts one on net. Third save there for Gennady. And rebound control by the close D to now send it up the field for Dieso.
Very nice save by Mike Gennady, standing his ground.
Teams trading turnovers.
Yeah, turnovers are not in Massapequa's favor, at this point. They have to find a way somehow to limit the turnovers and mental errors.
Just underway second quarter. McCarville down the left alley. Possession continues for the Vikings. Right alley dodge and a bouncer is through the crease and wide.
So Michael Gennady's a real good goaltender in his own right, returning Will County. I think the shot before was definitely influenced by him being in a cage and his reputation. The shooter didn't quite release the ball when he wanted to because Michael was in good position.
Lang carries and throws behind. Quick pass in front and a behind-the-back chance for APAT is off target.
And it feels like Port Washington's offense is really just relentless right now, trying to get a line shift. Perhaps a shot clock violation.
Flag is thrown. It's a 1-minute slash called against the Chiefs. First man up of the game, and it goes in favor of Port Washington.
Foul on the Chiefs, number 10.
So let's see how Massapequa approaches this man down opportunity, right? Or will they sit back? Or, are they going to kind of force the issue with Port Washington, or are they going to they're going to wait to see how Port comes out and attack them from there?
Farrell's out for a minute after the slash. Brady Gilchrist checks into the game to play man down. Einen has it up top. A touch for Lang, and they play catch. McCarville, the riser. Fought off by Gennady, and his fourth save of the opening half. That one coming on the man down.
It's the reason that man got All-County last year. It's saves like that, especially in these man-down situations, staving off another Port Washington goal.
And a nice man down clear by senior defender Will Krieg. So Port Washington showed about 3 or 4 different looks on the one man down, one man up opportunity. I think Massapequa did a pretty good job of adjusting to all the changes. And certainly a great save by Gennady.
Penalty expires. We're back to 6-on-6.
So Port Washington's been aggressive on both ends of the field, as Nick pointed out. On defense and offense, I think Massapequa's got to give them a little bit of their own medicine here. I think they need to really, press the issue and try to limit mistakes.
Burns off the broken play, and the goal on the inside. Luke Gargiulo scores it right on the crease.
Chiefs goal scored by number 14, Luke Gargiulo.
Got another look at this replay here. Again, this is them, I would say that a perfect pass off of the slide. See right there, Luke Gargiulo just finishing that one off. Open one-on-one in front of the net, exactly where he needed to be.
Maybe Massapequa were not happy to sit back. Maybe it was good that they, decided to force the issue and kind of, exploit what Port Washington was giving them.
After Burns had to track down the pass, running out of time on that possession and forcing the action on the Burns dodge from the outside.
Looks like the timeout and the quarter ending and the couple of huddled by the coach. You kind of settled down Massapequa a little bit, and that's just what the doctor ordered for them. And there's Max with another save.
Both goalies with 4 saves in the first half. Einen now over 300 in his 3-year varsity career. 20 seconds to get it over midfield, 10 from midfield into the box, and now 60 seconds on the shot clock ignited after Gannon got the touch. But the possession short-lived. Turnovers starting to pile up on both sides. As Diesso is able to saunter into the offensive zone.
So lacrosse is a game of runs, right? If, the team that survives the other team's good runs, they usually come out on top. Port Washington had their run in the beginning. Massapequa survived it, only down 3-1. And now it looks like they're on their own little bit of a run here.
They've scored 2 out of the last 3. A chance to tie it up. A blast from the outside, deflected prior to the crease, as Pettis tried to free his hands for a low blast.
And a new clock, fresh clock for Massapequa after the ball hit the goaltender.
From X, it is Burns overpowering his way to the front to tie it at 3.
Tying goal scored by number 21, Tyler Burns.
Another look here. He just takes his Orange Shoshone one-on-one straight to the hole. I'm not even sure if he was looking at the goal by the time he released that one as he falls to the ground. Manages to tie this one up, though, 3 apiece.
Unassisted for Burns after the first two had a helper. Massapequa assisting on 7 out of 10 of their goals. As another clean win here for Massapequa. 50% on the season, but they are winning the face-off battle here today.
I think the match that Burns, that's what he's looking for. That's really what he's looking for, what he wants. The last 2 times they had the ball, Burns initiated from behind and created scoring opportunities. So look for that to continue.
Massapequa really spinning it offensively. And the save, Einen. There was momentum for the Chiefs, but it was stonewalled with the sophomore stop. Port Washington keeps it.
Getting aggressive right there. Almost a costly turnover for Port Washington to try to stop that Massapequa run. Able to hit the defender out of bounds, though. And they'll keep possession here.
Tyler Burns pleading his case to Tommy Reynolds, the line person. I think he was looking for some kind of foul.
5:13 to go, and Port Washington uses its first timeout of the half. We are tied at 3 with 5:13 to go. Glenn Levy, first year at Port Washington after a run at his alma mater of Harborfields, class of 93. Won a couple of county titles for Harborfields. Last coached in 2021. There were only a few jobs that would have gotten him back in the game, and Port Washington was one of them.
You know, it's very interesting with Levy, too. He won the county title while he was at Harborfields as a player. They didn't win that county title until he came back as a head coach. So, little bit of poetry right there, coming back, bringing home a county title not only as a player but as a coach as well. Something not many very people get to do, especially at their alma mater.
The Levy family, very prominent in Suffolk County lacrosse. It's good to see him back in the game, even though he had to travel all the way to Western Nassau County for it. I'm sure he would have loved to be back in Suffolk, but he's doing a great job for Washington so far.
Kevin Catalano out of MacArthur, played his college ball at Malloy. Catalano in his first season after 9 years with the Massapequa JV.
It's really interesting to see, too, some of these underclassmen for Massapequa coming up, having played with Catalano while they were back in JV, and now having that same sort of chemistry that you have with the coach, except this time at the varsity level. It can go a long way, and Massapequa right now tying this game up at 3 in a very comfortable position, I would say.
Out of the Port Washington timeout. Apat, watched by Pettis. Playing 2 ways for Massapequa in the midfield. Under 5 to go. Apat on the dodge. McCarville on the riser, pings the corner, and the Vikings reclaim the lead.
You can't let McCarville get that shot off right there. Way too much room for him to work with right in his sweet spot. Able to get it past Gennady, snipes the corner as you said. Poor Washington back up by 1 now.
McCarville doing a nice job of changing his levels on the shot. He dipped his shoulder, brought his stick side armed and went upper corner. Difficult for a goaltender to adjust to.
32nd goal of the season, top 10 in Nassau. Marvin Griffin, clean win. It leads to a McCarville snipe. That was off target.
McCarville feeling himself right there. Unable to get it to go, though.
It was his twin brother who was all conference last year. Tommy making a tough catch there. What a breakout senior season for the SUNY Maritime-bound senior, who leads the team in goals and points and is one of the most dynamic offensive players in the county. 4 to go, 4-3 Port Washington first half. Gennady the save. Rebound is kicked out and still loose. Tough ground ball picked up by McLaughlin, and he is off to the races.
It's a good timeout call by Massapequa coach Catalano. Very good call.
Timeout, Chiefs.
3:42 to go, trailing by 1. It is a Massapequa timeout here in the second quarter.
Time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Massapequa using their second and final timeout of this opening half. Port Washington's attack line can retreat to the other side of the field and watch one of the best defensive units in Nassau County, allowing under 5 goals per game, go to work against this Massapequa offense that averages better than 10. Offense, though, recently, during this recent skid, has gone a bit cold, scoring just 6 goals in 3 out of the last 4. And they answer right back. Diesso on the sharp angle.
By senior number 1, Joseph Diesso.
Man, just an absolute ripper of a shot right there. Top shelf. Iden, no chance to react. We're back at a tied game, knotted up at 4.
Kind of a mirror of a shot that McCarville took down the other end. Changing levels on the only way to be 2 good goaltenders is by using that type of shot.
Clean win for Griffin. Each team with 5 face-off wins. Each goalie unofficially with 5 saves. Port Washington with possession, 3 to go in a tie game. 8 combined goals, 8 different goal scorers. McCarville with one of them as he swims his way through a triple team. And a nice play by Shashua to keep it on the offensive side of the field.
Shashoa really keeping that play alive after McCarville drew 3 defenders.
Picked up by Lang.
Yeah, Massapequa defense in the beginning of the game was they were kind of sitting back and letting the play come to them. Looks like they're taking a page out of Port Washington's book here.
Lang puts his shoulders down. A right alley dodge and a rip. 5-4 Vikings.
4 goals scored by number 9, Brendan.
Another Brendan Lang just dodging to the right. Takes a shot. Why not? Gets it into the back of the net. Another goal for him on the day. Gives Port Washington a lead back as we're getting into the seesaw sort of game where Port's up by 1 and Massapequa is now trailing again. Has to tie it back up.
Port Washington hasn't trailed in this one as Lang gets his second of the day. Possession taken by Port Washington. A-Pat on the face dodge. Farrell on the slide forces him to retreat.
Massapequa has adjusted on defense to sending an early slide, which they weren't doing in the beginning, and Port Washington having a little bit of trouble with it.
McCarville isolating, spins to the left hand, feeds in front. The slam dunk is there for Harry Einen. Port Washington back up by 2.
Tommy McCarville, look at the footwork on this one. That spin move opens him wide open and finds a cutting Harry Einen right over the middle. That's just a garbage man play right there. Dump it right in. That's another goal for him.
One thing about Massapequa sliding on that play is they had no recover slide. So they were missing guys in the middle of the field because the guys are kind of scrambling to find their men.
Dylan Freeman, a sophomore, will take this face-off for the Vikings. He scoops it, and Port Washington calls for time with 1:11 to go. 6-4 in favor of Port Washington. Timeout taken by the Vikings on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
Two-goal advantage for Port Washington here on the road. Winners of 6 straight. Only loss on the season by 6 goals to Wantagh, a team that Massapequa beat by 3. It was a face-off win for Dylan Freeman and a free run for Lang across midfield. They'll be able to take this almost to the expiration of the half.
We've seen when Port's able to work this ball around, sort of lull Massapequa into just a little bit, get them a little bit too relaxed to the point where they start feeling a little bit more pressure, come out, put on the pressure. And we've seen Port Washington take advantage of their slides, finding an open man off of them. Big reason why they had this 2-goal lead. That shot saved again. Gennady stepping up and making a big play. Loose ball, though. Still going the way of Massapequa.
Free clear for Massapequa. Pettis over midfield. 20 seconds to go in the half. Dieso has a rising shot off target and now 14 seconds.
Plenty of time for Massapequa to pull within 1.
Spallina draws the slide. Pettis has to retreat. Gavin Neville, good defensively as the first half comes to a close. A 6-4 Port Washington lead on the road. The defense has been stellar. Max Einen, now over 300 career saves in his 3-year varsity career. As you are watching Port Washington and Massapequa, it is halftime on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net. Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the spring, but spots are limited. Contact us today for lacrosse, baseball, softball, and tennis by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships. For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
He's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the face-off X 3 in a row now.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network. Varsity Media is now opening up our schedule to any team looking to be on a sportscast. Watching yourself on camera is okay, but hearing your name on a Varsity Media sportscast is like you're a pro.
And look at this opportunity. Feldman behind. Jersey pulled. Feldman! Feldman!
The loose ball, Keyshawn White has it. He's just going to let it fly. Oh! Keyshawn White from half court. That is cash. What a way to end the third quarter.
Look at this. Merrill. No slide. No problem. Gary Merrill goes top corner.
Varsity Media offers sports coverage for any sport, and our coverage airs live and on demand so everyone can watch the game. Now is the time to be a star on Varsity Media. Contact us to book a sportscast today at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Time here at Massapequa. It is a 6-4 lead for the visiting Vikings as we take a look at what always is a busy week at the Varsity Media Sports Network. St. Anthony's and Lawrenceville, battle of top 15 teams in the country as the Friars lost by a goal yesterday in their arch rivalry with Chaminade, Northport, and Garden City. Suffolk versus Nassau battle tomorrow afternoon. And then we head to the baseball diamond for Division and Bethpage on Monday. Comstock, East Islip, North Shore, and Bethpage. A couple of boys lacrosse matchups that round out the next 7 or so days here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. So with Nick Paniagua, Mike Nelson, David Resnick, and there was some good chatter up in the booth here about the observations that you guys saw during the first half and projecting forward as to what should happen or could happen. And curious if you'd be willing to share those thoughts with our audience.
Well, for me, I thought Massapequa, started off a little bit slow. Weren't really ready for Port Washington to come out and attack them. As we saw, they went down 3-1 early on, but they found themselves a little bit more momentum once they finally started moving the ball around, started playing with a little bit more energy. But man, oh man, it's tough to get a Max Einen in net. Again, as we mentioned earlier, already more than 300 saves in his high school career, and he's got a lot of career left to go.
I think the goalie matchup that we were hoping would materialize hasn't disappointed. I think both of these guys, Max Einen and Michael Giannotti, have really kept their teams, grounded in the game. Your goalie play gives you a lot of confidence, from boosting from your defense out. They've settled the ball down on the clears. They've been field generals as far as moving the ball down the field. They've stood tall. No easy goals on either one of them. I look for these guys to lead their team both in the second half.
Slight edge for the Vikings at the face-off X. Saves nearly even. I have the sense that the turnovers are probably pretty close as they've come in bunches and really haven't hurt the teams in any significant ways that has led to extended runs for either team.
I think the turnovers like runs, like they go up and down. At the beginning of the game, Massapequa was turning the ball over, and then it was Port Washington's turn. So I think the team that limits the turnovers and the mental mistakes in the second half is going to come out on top.
Massapequa 6-3, trying to snap a 2-game slide. Port Washington 6 wins in a row. Massapequa perfect at home. Port Washington perfect on the road. One of those runs will be snapped as we're ready for the start of the second half. Port Washington in the blue, Massapequa in the white.
They were playing some Allman Brothers here at Massapequa Stadium. Make me feel like it was home again.
Yeah, I suspect the kids were not choosing the playlist on that one.
That's okay. They have to broaden their horizons a little bit.
The whole press box didn't vibrate during the playlist, so I felt a little unsure that I was still at a high school game.
Right.
Massapequa down 2.
They just look more relaxed on offense now, Massapequa, than they did in the beginning of the game. Not so herky-jerky, not panicking when the defensive pressure comes, sharing the ball around, getting everybody involved. It looks better already just beginning of the second half.
Scooped up in the crease, taken by Einen. And they will start the clear to the near side for Shashua. Long stick to long stick. Behan with the catch. 3-game winning streak for Port Washington in this series. Last win for Massapequa back in 2022. An overtime win on the road. Vikings won a pair of games in 23, won their lone matchup last year. Building momentum into this late April matchup. 6-4 is the lead. Lang with a couple of goals for Port Washington. He is 9 in the blue. Loose ball. Apat went for the body to hopefully allow Amuddy to come with it. Instead, it's Apat that controls as this possession is winding down. High to high, McCarville is stopped. Gennady the save as he tracked it.
So Michael Gennady playing that high arc, and as closer McCarville got to the cage, Gennady was taking away his angle. Great job of making himself big and not giving McCarville anything to shoot at.
Port Washington takes pride in its ride. Hasn't really played a factor until this moment where they're able to draw the turnover.
Again, stopping Massapequa on their transition, not allowing any breathing room, especially not allowing them to get on a fast break, which is where Massapequa is at their most dangerous.
A defensive-minded team at its core. Port Washington offensively, they're steady, they're deliberate, they're patient, trying to really play as a 6-man unit. Always trying to figure out who will be the player to complement McCarville. So far today, it's been Lang with a pair.
See Lang on both of his goals, dodging straight to the cage. So McCarville's trying to make something happen, loses the ball, though.
Good ground ball pick up by Lang. Amuddy with the shot clock winding down. To his left hand, and that's a low shot that Gennady gobbles up for unofficially his 8th save of this contest.
So not a lot of trickery on that shot there. Low-to-low shot that Michael was able to gobble up and get out of the zone.
Perticone with speed. Oh, matching saves. It's Einen with the denial.
Flag is down.
It's a push. And Massapequa goes on the man up for 30 seconds.
Massapequa Chiefs.
Here's Perticone driving below goal line extended, crossing over, shooting cross-handed, and Max Anon kept himself big and matched sticks and was able to shut down Brandon.
Harry Einen is whistled for the 30-second technical. Man up for Massapequa, trailing by 2.
Their first of the game so far.
Port Washington didn't convert on their 1-minute opportunity in the first half, and it appears that Massapequa will not here in the third.
Interesting. Port Washington on that man down opportunity. Shut off Nolan Weiserick right from the beginning. And I think it kind of confused Massapequa a little bit. So they have to get ready next time they're man up to play 5-on-4 instead of 6-on-5.
Weiserick top in assists and points.
I think the
Does
man
not have one tonight. What was that, Nick?
Lang was the man trailing, but opted not to go straight to the cage. That's how he scored his first of his 2 goals in this one.
I really like Farrell's aggressiveness on Massapequa. He's a young guy, but he doesn't play like a young guy.
Liam McCarville bounces one in, and Gennady is there, sliding to his right with his stick low as he closes in on double-digit saves. Had 18 last time out in the loss against Garden City. A 13-6 defeat with nearly 20 saves. Approaching the midway point of the third. Joey Diesso is somebody that can play all over the fields. Bound for Adelphi. Transitioned into offense and will sub out.
Coach Purdy's looking forward to Joey Diesso coming to Garden City next fall for sure.
Two-man game. Pettis tracks down the loose ball. Arjulo sets up his dodge from up top, and now it's Burns, the physical lefty, trying to get to that strong hand, but he's dispossessed just shy of the crease, and an easy scoop for Einen.
I mean, he's just a wall back there, you know, and I can say the same thing about Michael for Massapequa. These two guys are really dictating the play of this game so far.
Credit his defense for creating that loose ball right in front of the crease. No scoring in this third quarter. Owen Meyer, the sophomore, to the high crease. And in this third quarter, Port Washington just a step faster to the ground balls. Einen from X, denied. Stuffed on the crease by Gennady.
Gennady holding down the cage in this quarter. No goals allowed so far. I believe that was his 4th save this quarter. Really holding it down, not allowing Port Washington to extend their lead further.
Port's thrown everything they have at him, and he just up to the test so far.
Great positioning right along the post for his 4th of 10 saves, and it's a pole goal. Brady Gilchrist stays on offense and beats Einen to pull Massapequa to within 1.
So here you go. So a goaltender of Max's ability, you know, they've got to have some kind of kryptonite, right? So right here you see a pole is difficult. It's a different release, and I think it kind of crossed up Max a little bit, and it went off stick side.
How about that for Gilchrist? His first goal of the year as well, and it comes at a very critical time.
Glenn Levy, the head coach of Port Washington, had this great quote that when a shot goes in from distance, he's surprised.
Yeah, for sure. It's something you don't see hardly ever against his goaltender.
Massapequa make it, take it. A chance to tie it up as we approach 4 minutes to go in the third. Ryan Chabas, the face-off win for the Chiefs. Both of the top 2 face-off men for the Chiefs coming in at under 50%, but they have held their own against a team that typically wins close to 70% of their tries. Offsides or over and back. Offsides, I think, as Massapequa was tiptoeing right along midfield. Since they were the team on offense, it's just a change of possession and not a flag.
So basically every ground ball at this point has turned into a scrap, has turned into a battle, and neither team is relenting. As we thought so. And here comes the foul.
Ryan O'Connor gets taken down. Delayed call. Shashua, I believe will be penalized.
Port Washington fans not pleased with that call.
2 flags are down, but I suspect it's for the same infraction. A left alley dodge, and another flag goes down as Einan makes the stop right along the cage, and things are getting chippy.
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay on that hit. So this is the first foul on Shashoa. They called a tripping penalty. I'm glad young Mr. Burns is up.
Jake Burns was down for Massapequa. Tyler Burns came over to make sure he was all right.
Chiefs number 36, Jake Burns, shaken up on the play. Referees will sort out the fouls, and we'll continue.
Coach Levy out on the field pleading his case to the officials. One minute for tripping on Port Washington. And then a cross check to the head, which will be a minute and will be locked in. So it'll be down 2 men, and one of the 1 minute fouls will be locked in for the full minute.
What is it? 1 minute?
So
this game has relatively been clean on the penalty-wise so far. Only 2. 1 coming in from each team leading up to this moment. And all of a sudden, Massapequa, not only a man up, but 2 men up. They find themselves down by 1. Great opportunity for them to tie this one right back up.
Again, one of those fouls, it will be for the full minute. So even if Massapequa scores here, they'll still be a man up.
One of those fouls will be for the full minute, even if the Chiefs score.
So it's Sashua out for the 1 minute trip. Also on a knee is Harry Behan that gets called for the cross check to the head that is unreleasable. Non-releasable. 2:30 to go. Massapequa down by 1. 6-on-4 advantage.
2 key defenders in the box for Port Washington as they face a two-man disadvantage.
Jimmy Rather is checked in with the poles. A shot from the outside is tracked by Einan. What an equalizer, even with your team down 2 men.
This is a very critical time, too. 2 men could go on Einan. He's going to launch this one down the field.
Gilchrist intercepts. Transition for Massapequa.
The penalties are not released yet.
Still 6-on-4. The cutter in front. Dumped home. Ryan Kinderman slashing through the middle of the field. Massapequa ties it at 6.
He's falling to the floor. It even looked like Max Einan might have gotten a little bit of it, or he might have just got right past him. Kinderman, though, finishing it all the way through. And now it's a tied ball game at 6.
That was a great cut, catch and release by Kinderman.
Massapequa with the only 2 goals in this third.
So Massapequa will still be up 1 with that non-releasable penalty still being served.
It's a man-up face-off for Massapequa. Port Washington only with 2 out of the 3 eligible players in the middle of the field. So an advantage there on the face-off for the Chiefs. So Massapequa now 1 of 2 on the extra man. Crucial face-off, especially from a Port Washington perspective. And what a clutch play by Dylan Freeman to win it cleanly. But ultimately, possession is taken by Massapequa. Six on 5 for the Chiefs, rather.
The last time they played 6-on-5, Port Washington shut off Weiserick. And looks like they're doing it again here. So now Massapequa's going to play 5-on-4. They take Weiserick out of the play, put him on the end line, let him back up the cage, and hopefully your 5-on-4 can work some magic here for Massapequa.
Jimmy Gannon locking him off behind the cage. Minute left. Good stick there by Port Washington.
One of their all-county defenders, Nick Noga, on the play. It'll look easy there.
Port Washington got away with a offside call on that one. You have to be careful at this stage of the game, so being in a tie ball game going into the 4th quarter.
Vikings haven't scored yet this quarter either. 2 unanswered coming the way of Massapequa.
20 seconds to go in a tie game. Back to even strength. Across goal line extended. A rebound attempt is wide after the initial stop by Gennady, who's fighting for it along the end line. But the backup to a Muddy with 6.2 left was closest to it where and when it went out of bounds. Apat, one more. The overhand crank by McCarville is fought off by Gennady. What a third quarter for the stellar senior goalie, who makes 5 of his 11 saves, while the offense started to pick things up, tying it at 6. Kitterman on the extra man. We are deadlocked into the 4th on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the spring, but spots are limited. Contact us today for lacrosse, baseball, softball, and tennis by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
Chief Graphics specializes in custom graphics and signs, helping schools, businesses, and organizations bring their vision to life with in-house design, fabrication, and installation services, making them a one-stop shop for all graphics needs. From retail signage, wall and floor wraps, vehicle graphics, wayfinding signage, Chief Graphics delivers custom solutions that make an impact. Who's made an impact in today's game?
I think First and foremost, we have to look down at the Massapequa end of the defensive end and look at Michael Giannotti. I think he's just been, to say he's in the zone is an understatement. Max has played real well. He's played up to his abilities, but Michael Giannotti really has kept Massapequa in this game for this long.
Especially in the third quarter, not allowing a single goal to go by him, and it's allowed Massapequa to get back into this game. Tied up at 6, only 1 quarter to go, where we can determine a winner here.
And he's altering the Port Washington shots. You know, they were kind of free-flowing in the beginning of the game, shooting at will, and now they're kind of shooting from the outside. You're just hoping they can sneak one by him.
Unofficially faced 5 shots on goal in that third, made all 5 saves. As Massapequa won the third 2-0. Skip pass and a laser. Tyler Burns pinging the corner for Massapequa's first lead of the game.
Man, what a look right there. Brandon Perticone all the way across the ball, uncontested. Where Washington couldn't knock it down, and Tyler Burns makes them pay for it. Now Massapequa for the first time in this one, up by 1.
So I hate to sound biased, and I hate to constantly talk about the goaltenders, all right, but I don't care. I think the amount of confidence that Michael Giannotti has given his teammates at this point, I think it's affecting his entire team, and they know that they have a shot as long as Michael's in there. And they're playing up to they're fighting for every ground ball. They're winning face-off now. Good for Massapequa.
3 in a row for the Chiefs out of the halftime break after they conceded 3 of 4. So first lead of the game for Massapequa. Make it, take it with another face-off win. Tyler Burns with his second on the last possession, and a turnover by the Chiefs.
Vikings will get their first look now, and they got to answer back. Being down 1 in a game like this feels so much. You feel so much more pressure, especially now that there's only 1 quarter left to play. Every goal matters that much more now.
Port Washington 9-1. They got it successfully across midfield. Meyer needs to get the touch in the box before the expiration of the 10-second count. He does, and now the 60-second shot clock can be initiated. 6 wins in a row for the Vikings. Preseason number 4 in Class A. More than quadrupled their win total from last year. And now turnovers being exchanged here early in the 4th.
That's what neither team needed or wanted at this stage. But it's it's infectious, I guess, on both sides.
Port Washington was delayed getting here to Massapequa. Delayed the start time by about a half hour. And yet it was Port Washington that came out with the lead, 2-0 and then 3-1. Massapequa finding its groove since halftime.
So Massapequa trusting some underclassmen in the crunch time. You got at least one 8th grader out there, a 9th grader out there. That's big for a program, of this size, to be trusted in younger guys in such a situation like this.
Good to see Jake back on his feet after he was the player that was knocked down during that flurry of flags. The 8th grader goes high to high, and the sophomore says no, with Max Einen making another stop.
You imagine these guys, both of them are going to be playing against each other for the next 3 years, and we haven't even seen them the best of them yet.
Couple of possessions, couple of Port Washington turnovers. Matthew Pettis on the move. 8:30 to go, 4th quarter. Massapequa nursing its first lead of the game. 7-6 on a run of 3 in a row after trailing 6-4 at the break.
Now Massapequa has some of the seniors back out there for this run. They have a senior and a junior, 2 seniors and a junior on this crucial possession here.
Dumped inside on the crease and stuffed home. And excuse me, goal for Spallina. It's now 4 in a row for the Chiefs.
Chiefs goal scored by number 16, second of the day, Rocco Spallina.
Just great offense all around from Massapequa. Moving it around, getting it to Spallina. Nothing but net in front of him. Just had to place it in there. Now Massapequa are the ones who are leading by 2.
I'm sure Nolan Weiserick is going to tell his friend that there was a bounce pass intended for Spallina. But, you create your own luck, right?
Exactly. I thought it was, in the box score, a line drive bullet pass.
Okay.
That was right on target.
Maybe 20 or 30 years from now, that's what it'll become when they're down at Katie Daly's or wherever they're at. Right?
That's what reunions are for. Revisionist history. Massapequa again playing make it, take it as they extend their lead to 2.
Coach Catalano running two complete midfields right to the end here.
Easier to do it when you have the lead as Burns shoulders off the defender. I think he's learned a thing or two about physicality from Tyler, who is bound for UMass. Pass through the crease, and once again, Spallina on the spot to fire it home.
And how about that for creating your own luck? Getting the loose ball, Spallina, right place, right time, delivers it into the goal once again. How about that? Biggest lead we've seen all night.
Yeah, Johnny on the spot. I mean, that's an understatement. He's in the right place at the right time, for sure.
Hat-trick for Spallina, back-to-back goals for Massapequa. It's now 5 in a row to take a commanding lead. Trying to snap their 2-game losing streak.
Not much Einon can do about those 2 shots.
Spallina right on the crease and pounded them home in this matchup of top 10 teams in Class A in New York State. That's a hold called against Freeman, and Chavez is getting in a groove for Massapequa. He's won all 4 face-offs of the 4th. Seven minutes to go.
I think now you'll start to see Massapequa try to dry out possessions just a little bit longer, take some time off the clock. So we've seen before, Gennadi's had himself quite the second half, not allowing anything by him. When you have that kind of reliability on the defensive end, it just opens up more opportunity for you to take clock off.
DSO picks up the loose ball. Port Washington without a shot nearly midway through the 4th quarter, let alone a shot on goal. In this matchup of returning all-county goalies, Michael Gennadi was under assault in the 3rd. He didn't let anything by him. And the Massapequa offense, sans that turnover, has found its groove to the tune of 5 in a row. Unsettled and bounced home. Gino Friedman, 2nd long pole goal of the game, 1st for the Vikings. And Port Washington with life as they score unsettled.
Number 34 for Port, Evan.
So the Port Washington long pole, Evan Friedman, Gino able to capitalize on that ground ball. I think if you're Massapequa at this stage of the game, learning how to play with the lead for young guys, I don't think that, you're so careless with the ball. I think they have to use as much of the clock as possible. Not saying go into a stall, but really be smart about your choices.
Right there, Evan Gino Friedman taking advantage of that one. And as you said before, with the long pole, you get a whole different release point. Gennadi not ready for that one. Gino Friedman giving Port a much-needed goal.
Okay, now if you're Massapequa playing with a 2-goal lead, you got to be smart about it. This is where you have to rely on your upperclassmen and say, hey, listen, cool out a little bit. Use some of the clock. Don't get yourself into trouble.
Not a ton of seniors in your top 6 from the Chiefs' standpoint offensively, but plenty of experience and returners to that side of the field. As they brought back their entire starting attack unit from a year ago, even though Wiezorek has moved to the midfield since the start of the season. Pettis inverts and starts his dodge against the short stick of Gannon. Trying to get to the front, and a cross-handed shot that never got all the way to the cage.
Look for a timeout here. Luckily, they didn't need to call one.
Burns was able to create a little bit of room as he scooped it up on the move. Now Tucker, a jump shot from a tough angle, is fought off by Einen, and a reset of the shot clock if Massapequa is able to get possession.
They call loose ball push on Port Washington. Massapequa will retain possession on that one with a full shot clock, like you said.
So 9th save for Einen. That's the good news. The bad news is that they couldn't control the rebound. And so 60 more seconds potentially for the Chiefs to take off the clock.
Now, if you're talking to your 8th grader here as your coach or your teammate, it's great that, he has the confidence to want to kind of, take the ball to the cage. But, if it's not there, no reason to force anything.
Closing in on his curfew. He takes one on the right alley. He's double teamed. Ball is loose. Shashua couldn't come up with it with the long stick for Port Washington, but the 8th grader could.
That's a great ground ball by him, and run to space and get himself free away from the defenders. Smart play.
From the outside, a whistler for Pettis is off target.
I think the shot clock was winding down there. Had no choice but to really shoot it, but again, a minute goes by. Port Washington left with very little time, 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
Yeah, Burns just throws it to the corner with the shot clock winding down. Massapequa, during the time in which the ball was out of play, went for a substitution to get their defensive personnel onto the field. Liam McCarville draws the double. Timeout Port Washington to maintain possession. 3:20 to go, and Port Washington uses one of its 2 second-half timeouts. Vikings trail 9-7 as Massapequa huddles up with the lead. For Port Washington, a date with Syosset on the road, followed by a matchup with Long Beach. Farmingdale at home, the defending county champs. A matchup you can see right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And rounding out this quartet of games is Plain Edge. As for Massapequa, they will be at Long Beach. Farmingdale, a matchup, one of their top rivals. Dalers will be on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Horace Greeley, one of the best teams out of Section 1, just beat Rye, who beat Cold Spring Harbor last week. And Kellenberg out of the CHSAA on deck for Massapequa. We've been talking about some of their top players throughout this contest, and this is a group of players that will head to the next level, but still some work to be done during their spring season, and especially in this final 3:20 of this League One showdown.
One player missing from the commit list with Will Krieg, who'll be attending Stevens, along with Michael Giannotti.
It's a good future defense for the Ducks.
Absolutely.
Tommy McCarville bound for SUNY Maritime. Comes from X, spins into the double team. Amadi tracks it down. Under 3 to go out of the Port Washington timeout. Liam McCarville. Low shot. Lang denied. He's going to Muhlenberg. But that was a stop by Giannotti.
Giannotti read that so well. Saw him going low and met him right there, picking up the save and keeping this one a 2-goal game.
Ryan McLaughlin. Pass in front. Nobody home, and it's a loose ball. Timeout, Massapequa.
It was a great timeout call by Coach Catalano.
Shashua was a second away, perhaps, from being called for a 30-second technical. Instead, the timeout awarded prior to the contact. And Massapequa has possession, 2:19 to go, up by 2.
Latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
We've got a good one down the stretch here in Massapequa. Chiefs trailed throughout the first half. They didn't take their first lead until the opening minute of the fourth quarter. At one point, scored 5 straight second-half goals before a long pole goal from Port Washington. Massapequa with possession coming out of a timeout that they called, leading by 2.
All these athletes back out onto the field.
Been an absolute battle out there on the field today. Both teams getting really physical in this one. You could see why two teams who know each other very, very well play each other every single year.
Crunch time minutes for Jake Burns with the orange cross. Gets to the middle of the field, and he sends that one wide from his knees.
Now Weiderick will take the ball from behind the cage. Double teamed. Port Washington taking Max Ainon out of the cage. So they'll double the ball. And timeout called by Massapequa again.
So just 17 seconds coming off of the clock between Massapequa timeouts. Port Washington still has one left. Chiefs by 2. 2 minutes to go on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media. High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
Two-goal lead for Massapequa. They are out of timeouts. Port Washington with one left. They've only scored once in the second half. Held scoreless in the third when Massapequa goalie Michael Giannotti, the returning all-county selection, was an absolute stone wall, not allowing any of the 5 shots on goal behind him, and that allowed the Chiefs, Mike, I believe, just time to find an offensive rhythm that was a bit absent in the first half.
Yeah, it seemed they found their game. You know, they're definitely at halftime, and there was a couple of crucial timeouts that the coach called before half to allow them to settle down.
Over the end line. Port Washington wanted a quick restart. Harry Behan forces the turnover. A wild swing by Pettis trying to get it back.
You know, both of these teams are really kind of, showing frustration here. And the referees are letting them play, but I think they need to, exercise some restraint or they're going to bury their team.
Delayed penalty against Massapequa. Port Washington down by a goal. Lang on the run, vying for his third. It's a slash called against Massapequa.
Advantage Vikings.
The questionable non-call at the back of the Port Washington end zone on the Massapequa ball carrier. Now Massapequa takes the foul at maybe the worst possible time, but they've shut them down before. Let's see how Massapequa's man down plays here.
Pettis on a knee after picking up the penalty. Man up for Port Washington, 0 for 1. First extra man chance of the second half.
Whether you make contact or not, you just can't swing your stick. The referees will call that every time.
McCarville up top, swings it, gets it back. A step down. Oh, what a save. Gennady again with a minute to go.
He's just been the go-to guy this whole half, right? Michael Gennady stepping up when they need him the most, denying a goal. But Port Washington trying to look to create some noise here.
Gennady well out of his cage. Port Washington trying to secure the ground ball. These players just pinballing off of each other in pursuit of possession. McCarville. And then Amudi gets flattened after his release. Gennady takes a hit. 19 seconds to go.
Now, the clock continued to run, but I'm sure they're going to put time back on. But if you're Massapequa, even though they went after your goaltender, okay, you got to show restraint here.
Big hit right there. Still a whole lot of season left.
A job by Gennady to come out and shut the ball carrier to shoot it down.
That's a senior leadership right there off the side of Massapequa.
Jake Feinstein is called for the penalty. – 15 seconds to go. Massapequa on the offensive side of the field will look to just run it out. Good stick for Noga. And then intercepted by Farrell. And that will do it. Hard fought to the final buzzer. A come-from-behind victory for Massapequa here at home. A 9-7 final, and what a tremendous second half for the home Chiefs that celebrate a home victory, snapping a two-game skid.
While the offense finally woke up in the second half, a huge part to play. Michael Gennady only allowing a single goal in that second half, allowing Massapequa to come back into this one, denying Port Washington any chance of extending their lead even further. All around, excellent job by him.
Well, we saw a little bit of everything today, and I wouldn't be surprised if these guys saw each other again in May.
Port Washington drops to 9-2. Their 6-game winning streak snapped here in Massapequa. Chiefs improved to 7-3 thanks to a 5-1 advantage in the second half of what turned out to be a relatively low-scoring and physical contest. Michael Gennady, 13 saves unofficially, and a monster second half as the Chiefs complete the comeback here at home. This has been a Varsity Media production led by executive producer Ben Turchin, Kevin Catalanato, our technical director, along with Nick Paniagua and Mike Nelson. I'm David Resnick, Chris Dorr, and Jeff Damo, our camera operators. Once again, the final score, 9-7. Massapequa takes down Port Washington. We thank you so much for joining us on the Varsity